I'll give you one thing to be thinking about. You're a sports guy.
Love
you
sports.
you love throwing the football at the end of your show, and so who was the team that almost had a perfect season, and at the end of it they lost because of a couple turnovers that they made, devastating. They could have gone undefeated the entire year. Would have been known as the greatest season any NFL team ever had. The Patriots,
Against
right?
the Giants, baby.
Right, against your Giants, right?
Yeah.
So what's the point? This is all I'm saying. All I'm saying is when you have a vision that big and you're working your ass off the way that you are and you're trying to juggle all these different projects at the same time, you have to talk to your leadership team. No more turnovers moving forward. Not at this level. This could have been prevented. This was a massive fumble that could have been prevented by the team. Because to Trump's credit, when Trump did that interview with Rachel Campos Duffy, and she asked, and she goes like this, so, Mr. President, you know which scene I'm talking about? She's like this, right? And she says, so are you going to release the John F. Kennedy? Yes. Are you going to release the Martin? Yes. 9/11? Yes. Not this one, Rob. Are you going to release the Epstein? Yes. I don't know, because... So even then, Trump didn't give a definite answer.
No. He said, because some people's names might be on there and they might not be
to his credit, he's not ran on this.
True.
He's not ran on this. His team ran on this.
Great point. Great
so
point.
this is the scene right here. His team ran on this. And Rob, I don't know if you're going to... Okay, is it right off the bat she says that? Yeah, right off the bat. Okay, play it from the beginning.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
Well,
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
You can pause it right there. So to me, I get it.
That's revealing too, in my view. And when you're talking about, like, for example, you call somebody a racist, you're basically saying they're evil to me. There are certain things that you accuse people of that it will take them down hard. If in the files they have, and this is, I think, the point that Trump was making when he brought up, remember who put these files together. 4 years, Biden Justice Department had all of it. Nobody even asked for them to release it. It was never an issue. And you could say, okay, well, Trump kind of half said he would release it, but then said maybe not because there might be innocent names in there. But then you look at the people that put it together, maybe when they got to the bottom of it, and we'll find out, I think, over time. Maybe I'm just a little more patient than your average person. But maybe there are innocent people. Maybe there are allegations in there. By the way, you're a pedophile. Okay, you're on the list. Now you have to defend yourself, but you're not a pedophile. What happens to that person's life? Falsely accused. I've seen that a lot in my life, too.
Many times, to a lot of guys.
When I met with those kids from Duke Lacrosse, I actually drove out to their house, and this is why I ended up being right, and everybody else was wrong. There were nearly 100 professors at Duke jumped on the bandwagon. They wanted these kids taken down. Those kids' lives are never going to be the same. Richard Jewell's life was never the same. Darren Wilson left the police department. His career was ruined. It's like we are too quick to do that. Now, with all that said, there's no doubt in my mind that Epstein is a creep, a scumbag, a lowlife.
Why is he, though?
Well, I mean, just what we know from the trial, the sweetheart deal that he got the first time.
So what people want is when you study this guy's lifestyle and what he did and how he made his money, and Lex Wexner giving a $77 million most expensive private residence in Manhattan to him as a gift when he gets a $158 million consulting fee from Leon Black, when he has an 8,000 square foot property in New Mexico, that he was practicing eugenics and his DNA being transformed and passed down to different people. When you look at it's a lot of weird things with this guy. So we can continue there. But the last thing I'll wrap up on this, by the way, when you're saying all that stuff, I agree, because Trevor Bauer's career in baseball was destroyed.
Yep.
Pasadena court by a girl that lied, and no one in the MLB wants to sign this guy. Sure. Yeah. And he could have gone a $250 million contract to $300 million contract made some real money. He lost a few $100 million because of a lie. Because of a lie, they destroyed this guy's potential on income. Now, he still loves the game so much that he's playing for nothing because of the love of the game. But this guy's dream was to play in baseball. It was entertaining to watch. So you're right. All that happens. I'll wrap up the last thing and we'll go to the next one. So I want to go into the Russia side with you.
Is there anything you think I'm doing wrong? Anything that I'm saying?
No, not at all. No, the only reason, we've been podcasting for 5 years. We started this 5 years ago. My content was purely, I'm a business guy. I'm a business guy that grew up in Iran, that came up here and, made his money, went to the U.S. Army, went into the stock market, became a stockbroker with Morgan Stanley Dean Witter, built an insurance company, sold it. But as a financial advisor, when you're in it for 25 years, what you learn to do is a needs analysis every day. What is a needs analysis? A needs analysis, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, what is your income? What are your expenses? How much money do you have in a CD? What do you have in a 401k? What do you have in a defined benefit? What do you have in a 457? Do you have a 529 for your kids? How important is it for you to put your kids in a private school? How much money do you want to set aside for your kids to go to private school? Are you planning on paying for their school tuition or not? Are you planning on letting them go to community? Do you want to do a 50-50? Do you want to have some money for them to start a business? Do you not want to pay anything for them? At what age do you want to retire? How much income do you want to retire with? When you're programmed to just ask questions and then you go into podcasting, your natural instinct is to constantly be asking questions because that's what you've been trained to do in financial services.
Every question you guys are asking is the right question.
Right.
And I think we need answers.
And so to me, to think when you're saying about Mossad and CIA, guys, the movie Argo came out 30 years after because CIA has a certain number of 30 years to not release. And, KGB guy comes out and he writes a book on what the KGB really did with the papers and who they controlled and who they planted different places. For us to assume that we're going to know right off the bat, we're being a little bit naive to think that we're going to know everything about what it is.
Yeah, because I was just going to say, I want to make one correction because we're talking about the Bible. It's Matthew 8, chapter 18, verse 6. I said 8 and 6, number one. But guys, if they are intelligence, think about Mossad, what they did with the pagers and our CIA. They're very good, all of them, Sean, at making everybody guess and ask these questions. That's their job. But when we say rushing to judgment, Epstein was a pedophile convicted pervert since when? It's 25 years later. Why is Ghislaine Maxwell in jail? There's no
for trafficking young women.
Where are the victims? I don't believe that there's a list. There's a name, Bill Clinton. Well, all these names. No. It's what is she in jail for trafficking at him? They're saying that he didn't do anything. All this stuff is all bullshit. Why is she in jail?
Nobody's saying that he didn't do anything.
Well, why is she in jail for 20 years if there's
Why don't you pull up what she was charged with and convicted of?
But
this doesn't have to be a mystery.
Where's the one client?
Fine.
What is Ghislaine Maxwell in prison for? And then ready for this? Where's the customer? That's like arresting Sean for being a freaking drug kingpin, and none of his clients are behind jail.
Don't bring Sean Hannity.
Sean sells weight. Well, he sells cocaine. Sean sells cocaine, but
you see how easy it is to make allegations.
No, but what
my life's
now he has to
ruined.
defend himself.
I have to defend myself.
Now Sean Hannity has to defend himself. That's your BS allegations.
I want to move on to the next part. We've already talked about what Ghislaine Maxwell.
But can I ask one more question before we go?
Sure.
Do we all kind of agree?
Yes.
That what?
That at the end of the day, they're unanswered questions. Maybe I'm just a little bit more willing to let this play out.
Well, you're the very few that actually has patience and maybe not rush to judgment.
But you know what taught me that?
Because most people have already made up their mind.
I'm telling you what taught me that. When I talked to Richard Jewell, got one of the first interviews with him, he comes on and he says, "You were the only one in the media that gave me the benefit of the doubt." That changed my life forever. And I learned, you know what? It's pretty powerful what I'm doing in the sense that it can impact people's lives. That lesson has served me well. That long list I gave, it wasn't to brag or to be, it wasn't, I promise you it wasn't. It was just to explain my methods, the way I approach things. I'm listening to Mr. Financial Advisor over here, and I'm like, holy shit, he's a genius. I'm like, all right, I got 15 questions now about my financial future.
The Vol Conference, September 8th through the 11th. Nearly 12,000 people will be coming this year, but we have 3 guest speakers that I'll be announcing here to you, and it's going to be massive. And they're all intentionally invited for different reasons. This was all intentional, and there's going to be a handful of massive announcements being made at the Vault Conference. If you're somebody that's running a business owner, the great thing about the Vault is you'll be having a conversation with somebody at the event, and you just run into them at the store, and they're an aspiring entrepreneur. Then you go to talk to somebody else that they're an executive of a Fortune 500 company. Then you go talk to somebody else who just exited their company and sold it for $700 million. Then you go talk to somebody else that's still with a big private equity company that's trying to deploy hundreds of millions of dollars. Then you go talk to somebody else from Goldman Sachs that's a money manager. The types of people, then you go talk to somebody else that's a podcaster, YouTuber, that you recognize their faces. The types of people that show up to the vault makes it a reason why this is becoming a number one business conference in America, that you go to actually get strategies that you leave, you implement, you can win in life, business, all of it combined together. So the three speakers that we have are the following. Number one speaker. For me, you guys know I'm a big fan of the movie Air, and you guys know I'm a big fan of anybody that's a strong negotiator that's done some of the biggest deals ever. We were able to get David Falk, Michael Jordan's agent, manager, who signed the Nike deal, who, by the way, in 1982, he was the first person to sign a multi-million-dollar deal for James Worthy. He was the first agent to sign a $100 million deal with Alonzo Mourning. Michael Jordan gives him so much credit. I can't wait to sit down and talk to him. He was one of the most entertaining characters in the movie Air, story of Michael Jordan. Number two speaker that we'll have at the Vault Conference is the OG content creator, brand person, influencer, who became a billionaire in 1999, who understood what it looked like to be in front of a camera. Martha Stewart will be at the Vault Conference.
What?
So Martha Stewart will be at the Vault Conference. We're excited about that. She had one of the best documentaries that everybody talks about, and I'll be sitting down with her, interviewing her at the Vault Conference. A lot of you fellas that want to bring your wives down, just let them know Martha Stewart's going to be there. They're going to want to come and hear and see what she has to say. And last but not least, the keynote speaker at the Vault Conference that won't be speaking for 30 minutes, not 45 minutes, not an hour, not an hour and 50 minutes. For 2 hours, the one and only Tony Robbins will be at the Vault Conference. Tony Robbins will be at the Vault Conference. So we're excited about that. This is a very, very big deal because there will be multiple big announcements being made there. Some of you guys are going to get a chance to meet the guests that are going to be there. Having said that, Rob, you can play the clip here right now. If you haven't been to the conference, if you haven't yet registered, go to the Vault Conference, get registered, get your ticket, bring your spouse, bring your partner, bring your other employees and executives with you. Come spend 3.5 days with us at the Gaylord Orlando. And at the end of the event, the people that get CEO tickets, we're shutting down Universal Studios. You can go on Velocicoaster as many times as you want to. You can go on the rides. We'll be hanging out. Literally, we're shutting down the entire Universal Studios at the end for all the CEOs to have some fun. You're going to see 58-year-olds act like they're 16 years old, and we're doing business at the same time, which makes it kind of exciting. Again, go to thevaultconference.com website, thevaultconference.com. Get your ticket. This is by far the most important time for you to not go through this process by yourself. Come network with nearly 12,000 people in one room and take your business and your life to the next level. Cannot wait to see you there.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.